Welcome back to the Fit Executive Show. I'm your host, Arne, and today's episode is one I've been wanting to record for a while now, and the topic is kind of polarizing, okay? So I know that I'm gonna piss some people off, right? And I'm fine with it, but we're calling it Rich Man's Fitness, okay? Before I get into that, I want to share something. This episode marks a milestone for me because it's a moment where I can look back at where this show started and appreciate how much has changed. I want to tell you about a moment that planted this seed. So a few years ago, before Fit Executive Co. was what it is today, before the team, before the systems, before any of this, I attended an event where I got to see for the first time what it looked like when someone had truly built a platform at scale. It was a studio with a production and the energy of the room. It had all been deliberately designed to broadcast a message to the world. And I remember sitting in the back thinking, someday, and not out of envy, but more about, it was more about recognition, and I could see it. And when you can see something clearly enough, it's usually only a matter of time and yes, some elbow grease is, I think, what the right expression. So the early episodes of this show were recorded on my phone in whatever quiet corner I could find with the gear that cost less than a dinner out. So a lot can change when you stay consistent and when you just keep going. So yeah, I had a moment recently where someone who knew me from the early days, someone who knew what the rebuild looked like after my restaurant Taco Casa collapsed and I went bankrupt that was in 2010. And this guy saw me and saw where things are now, and the look on their face said everything. Like, not necessarily surprised, but more like, I always knew you'd get there. And there's something powerful about having people in your life who hold the vision for you, even when you're not sure you can hold it yourself. So if you're in an earlier chapter of your journey right now, keep going. A lot can change, okay? And I share all of that to say thank you to the listeners who've been here from the beginning and to the ones who found the show maybe yesterday, right? I'm grateful you're here, and I'm going to keep showing up and delivering as much value as I can. But now to the point, Rich Man's Fitness. Let's get into it. So the first reaction a lot of people have when they hear this framing is, why would fitness be any different based on how much money you make, right? Shouldn't the principles be the same for everyone, right? Like, very democratic here. And the answer is no. And here's why. Two words: priority and motive. Okay, those two variables change everything about how a fitness program needs to be built. And ignoring them is exactly why generic programs fail the people listening to this show, right? Let me walk you through the logic behind this, though. If you're young and single and motivated by attraction, right, by wanting to be with someone worth, or you wanted to be someone worth choosing, right? You wanted to be chosen by someone. Yeah, you know what I mean, right? So at this time in your life, fitness is naturally a high priority. You want to be attractive, right? And you also have the time, you have energy, you have a very clear and honest motive driving you, which is to make love, right? It's making babies. It's just an evolutionary instinct, right? But that combination makes getting in shape relatively straightforward. You're also in a different hormonal situation, right? Your testosterone levels are sky high. Your cortisol levels you are lower, right? You don't have the same amount of responsibility. Your body can get away with like a couple of hours of sleep and pretty much like living off of junk food, and you still look lean and good. But if you do the right things at this point in your life, in your teens and 20s, things are gonna explode, right? So that combination makes getting in shape relatively straightforward, and the desire is also real, right? The time is available, and the priority is genuine. I see this play out constantly when a man goes through a divorce. And it's like the wife leaves, life gets turned upside down. Obviously, like not a scenario that I wish on anybody, but suddenly someone who hadn't been to a gym in years, right, starts training 6 days a week and starts like dialing their nutrition in. And why? Because the motive shifted overnight. You want the revenge body, is I think what it's called, right? Fitness went from a low priority to the highest priority. And nothing changed about the information available to this person. What changed was what it meant to this person to get back in shape. Now, let's talk about you. You're financially successful, you're a business owner or an executive, you're married, you have kids, you have a business that demands your attention. You have a mortgage, a calendar that starts at 6 a.m., a list of responsibility that doesn't end, right? So you know you should be in better shape. You want to be in better shape. But when it comes down to it, when a client calls right before your gym session, when an employee needs you, when a fire needs putting out, right, you choose the business every single time. And so fitness stays on the list, but never gets to the top of it. And this doesn't make you weak. It makes you human, right? It makes you someone whose priority and motive around fitness haven't yet been calibrated to match the version of themselves they actually want to become. And here's the other thing, like men like you who are winning in business are not trying to compete in powerlifting. And you're also not like chasing CrossFit leaderboards. You're not dreaming about standing on a bodybuilding stage full of fake tan wearing a thong, right? You don't lie awake at night wanting to be the strongest guy with the biggest biceps in your gym. What you want is very simple. You don't want to feel embarrassed taking your shirt off when you're on vacation. You don't want to have man boobs. You don't want to look in the mirror and see someone soft looking back at you. And where you know you are capable of more. You don't want to look average. You want to feel sharp and look strong, and you want to have the energy to match the life that you've built. And you want to know that your body will be functional, pain-free, and reliable also as you get older, right? You don't want to become the old grandpa. You want to be the fit grandpa. You want to enjoy the fruit of your labor when you retire. You want to be able to throw a ball around in the garden, right, with your grandkids and play golf and pickleball with your buddies. And hike up a vineyard with your wife in Italy when you're 80, right? This is what we need to optimize for, okay? Looking great and feeling great in the here and now, but also further down the line. But it's more about the functionality and like having a body that demands respect and also or mostly respect from yourself. And if you hand a man like you a powerlifting or a bodybuilding program, he's gone in 3 weeks, right? Not because you're undisciplined, but because that program wasn't built for your motive or your priority. And also not for your aging body. It was built for someone else's life. And this is a problem with generic fitness. Generic programs treat everyone the same, regardless of responsibility, schedule, goal, or motive. And so they work for the person they were built for, but they fail everybody else. Okay, so at Fit Executive, we've worked with a significant number of executives and entrepreneurs who've come to us after years of trying to make generic programs work. Okay, we've worked with over 3,000 executives and business owners over the years. The pattern is always the same. They put in effort and they don't see results proportional to that effort. Then they get frustrated and then they lose the motivation because of lack of results and they stop. And then the cycle repeats. And the reason it keeps happening isn't lack of discipline. It's a mismatch between the program and the person. So here are the 5 parameters that we use to build every executive program, or that we use to build every executive program around those 5 parameters. Okay, so the ones that actually work for someone living your kind of lifestyle. Parameter number 1 is what I call the minimum effective dose. You're training program. So you are not training to be an elite professional athlete. You're training to be an elite executive who also happens to be in exceptional physical condition. And this distinction matters. Our clients are all workaholics, right? They love to work, they love to make money, they also have a shit ton of responsibility. So that means when they are not working, they want to spend time with their loved ones, right? And none of our clients can live in the gym like they might have been able to do when they were in their 20s. So what we do differently than everybody else out there is it's very simple, like 3 to 4 sessions per week, 30 to 45 minutes each. Some of our clients want to do an hour. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not stopping you if you want to do more. Then we have to get strategic and kind of make sure that your body gets a recovery that it needs, so that we're not overloading your nervous system by overtraining you. But that's like, you get the point, right? So 3-4 sessions per week. You don't have to be perfect, by the way. If it's 2 when you're traveling, when things go crazy, when you have a deadline to hit, like, be my guest, right? You still will get results. But the message here is we like to keep it at around 2 hours per week, okay? 3 hours max, but only if you have the time. And there's a system behind it. You probably, or I hope you're familiar with the Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule. If not, please look it up. But basically what it says is that a minority of what you're doing is always responsible for a majority of your results. So like 20% of your inputs is responsible for 80% of your outputs, okay? And most guys spend 90% of their time on the stuff that gives them 10% of the results. So what happens then is they see some initial progress with those 10%, right? Or with the 90% that give them 10% of the results. And then the curve flattens and they lose momentum, they plateau. And when you put in all this time and effort and you're not getting any results, then what do? You quit, right? I would do the same. And that actually happened to me in the past when I was trying to lose the 50 pounds that were hanging off of my body, right? So when we work with our clients, we focus on the 10% that give you 90% of the results. And that is a major competitive advantage. So it's all about doing the right exercises in the right order, right amount of sets, right amount of reps. And that's it, okay? And everything gets fully customized to your anatomy, to your injury history, the equipment that you have available. So it doesn't really matter if you want to work out from a commercial gym or you want to work out from your home gym. We will have to adjust the plan, obviously, when you're traveling, when you're in hotels, right? Based on your equipment. By the way, we do all the research for you. What does a hotel have in terms of equipment? And then we, custom tailor or adjust the plan based on what's available to you. But that's for another day. So the secret lies in the minimum effective dose, okay? The least amount of work required to produce the maximum result. Nothing more and also nothing less, right? Your time is your most valuable resource and we treat it that way. So that's number 1. Parameter number 2 is flexibility, because any fitness and nutrition system that only works when your life is like perfectly controlled, it's not a system. It's like it's a temporary agreement or a temporary arrangement. Okay, what happens when you're traveling for a conference? When you have a client dinner at a restaurant that you didn't choose, when you're crossing time zones and your schedule has collapsed, right? And or when you meet with a client or a team member and they want to drink a bottle of wine with you, right? So a rigid meal plan fails in those moments. And the Fit Executive method builds a nutrition system around the foods that you actually enjoy with specific strategies for the real situations that executives face, like the back-to-back video calls or meetings, entertaining clients at fancy restaurants, traveling, and so on and so forth, right? You know what challenges you're facing when it comes to nutrition. Family meals as well, right? What if your kids want to go to a baseball game, right? This is like where you don't want to bring a Tupperware. So stuff like that. So sustainability only works if the system works in your actual life and not in an idealized version of it. So that is number 2, flexibility. Parameter number 3, sustainability, or Did I pronounce this right? Sustainability. My German tongue sometimes gets a little bit challenged by these multiple syllable words. But no excuses. But there is no 6-week challenge that produces a permanent result. There is no 75-day program that rewires your physiology or also your psychology for life. If what you're doing isn't something you can see yourself doing 2 years from now, it is nothing but a temporary fix. And temporary fixes produce temporary results. Okay, I wouldn't call this success. This is temporary success. Success means like getting to excellent and then staying excellent. We build habits and understanding and not dependency on a plan. Because when you understand why something works and you understand the principle behind you, we basically teach you how to fish yourself, right? Then you can apply it anywhere and you can modify it and you own the results instead of just renting them, okay? So that's number 3. Number 4, parameter number 4 is skin in the game. Right? This is might be a little bit uncomfortable to say, but it's true. If you've been trying to solve your fitness with a $10 gym membership or a cheap app, you've already demonstrated to yourself that it isn't a real priority yet, right? And the financial investment you make in your health is a direct signal to your own brain about what matters. And every executive in this show's audience understands this principle in business, right? It applies here too. When you put real money on the line, you show up differently. You take it more seriously. And the energy transfer from financial commitment to physical effort is real and it's powerful. So at Fit Executive, clients get blood work done upfront, so the program is calibrated to their actual biochemistry, hormones, metabolic markers, micronutrient levels, and not just a population average, right? We track your sleep quality, deep sleep, REM sleep, and also your recovery through monitoring your HRV, the heart rate variability. You might have heard of this, like we use a precision health tracker like an Aura Ring or Whoop Band. So recovery is managed with the same rigor as training. You have 24/7 access to world-class coaches, unlimited one-on-one calls, where you have full-on access to our calendars, and we customize every detail week after week depending on what your calendar looks like. We set new goals, we set new KPIs, we monitor how your body responds to all of this, right? So we do this week after week after week, and we keep adjusting and optimizing and fine-tuning week after week after week, again, based on how your body responds to it and based on also how it, like, what works for you and what doesn't work for you, right? Based on your feedback on this. So we need to, there is a lot of time and effort involved from our side so that you save your time, right? For example, when you enter a restaurant, I've mentioned the 24/7 concierge support, I think. Our clients keep texting us menus or links to the restaurants where they meet their clients at night, so that we then analyze the menu for you based on your preferences in advance and then send you the best options so you know exactly that you will have fun that night without ruining your progress. You know exactly what to do. The other day we had a client who he sent us the link to a restaurant and then he was like, at this place I always have to have the cheesecake. Okay, could have been me. I love cheesecake. So then we got creative and we adjusted the numbers, right? And built in the cheesecake, right? The calories and the macros from the cheesecake, so that he stayed on track. He was very happy with that, right? He got to eat the cheesecake and make progress on that day. So the bottom line is, when you work with Fit Executive, all you have to do is show up and execute. No more guessing around and no more figuring this out yourself. It's a white glove concierge service that delivers the best results possible with the least amount of planning and thinking required from your side. And also the least amount of time investment possible. We maximize your ROI when it comes to the time and effort required. Because time is your most valuable resource. Again, all you have to do is show up, execute, tell us what's working, what's not working, so that we can optimize based on your feedback. and fine-tune everything consistently, make the plan better and easier for you week after week. So this is what premium executive health transformations looks like. And it's not cheap, okay? It's not just a meal plan and an exercise program in a PDF where you might have a weekly group call with a bunch of housewives. Like, nothing against housewives, but they are in a different situation than you. Everything is custom tailored, and yes, this is why it delivers the best results possible, but this is also why it is not cheap, right? A custom suit is not the same price tag as a suit from the shelf, right? You know what I mean. So basically, you know that your money is well invested if you invested in the best solution possible. You're also not driving the cheapest car, right? And expect the fastest and fastest engine and stuff like that, best quality. So why would you treat your body like a Kia, right? If that makes sense. Okay, so parameter number 5. A coach who understands your world. And if you haven't figured this out on your own by now, there are 2 reasons. First, it generally hasn't been a true priority yet. We've discussed this earlier. And second, and also more likely, you don't have someone in your corner who actually understands the life that you're living. Not a 20-year-old trainer whose entire identity is fitness and who has to chase clients down to pay their bills. Right? So it's not a generic online coach with a templated program. It's also not your wife or your brother-in-law who enjoys reading books on nutrition, fitness, and longevity, right? He read Outlive and now he gives you advice and tries to hold you accountable. You need someone who understands what it means to run a business and manage a team, navigate a demanding schedule, and still want to show up physically as your best self. And executives who succeed in business, they love speed. They love efficiency. They hate wasted effort. At least that's me, okay? But what guys like us want from a coach is exactly what they want from every other high-performing investment. Tell me what to do. Show me why it works. Get me from point A to point B in the shortest time possible and make sure that I can sustain it. And that's what a great coach does. And when the right program meets the right coaching, and the right attitude, where it's not just a nice to have, but it's a must have, then results start showing up. This is when we always get the best transformations, the before and afters, undeniable, right? The success is undeniable. With this combination, attitude plus strategy. And nothing is more motivating than looking in the mirror after 5 or 6 weeks and seeing visible, measurable changes in your body after years of spinning your wheels. And the bottom line is this. You've built something real and you've mastered the financial game, or you're well on your way. And there is a version of you that has mastered both, that is lean, capable, and physically elite, that walks into every room as the complete version of the man you're building. You don't need to compete in fitness. You just need a program built for your life, your motive, and your priorities. And a coach who's done this with enough people like you to know exactly what works and what doesn't work, right? So that's what we do here at Fit Executive Co. If you want to learn more, go to fitexecutive.co, where you can download one of my books, or you can also schedule a free call to talk to my team and get a custom game plan, custom step-by-step strategy. And if you decide to join our program, we have a no fine print, full money-back guarantee. So you either get results or you don't pay. And if this episode resonated with you, share it, leave a review on Spotify, iTunes, or YouTube, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.